I wrote the book because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that integration would not work. And I remember reading that when I was a college student, and it always stuck with me.
Mm,
So when I decided I would write a book, I decided to investigate whether the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's statement was correct. So I used national statistics for the book, and I took a look at how we were faring nationally. So we
mhm.
can make a determination based on not emotion, but based on actual facts. As a child of the 60s, I hate to admit, don't tell nobody, I remember them singing "We Shall Overcome." And I never liked the song because the emphasis was on someday.
Right.
And here we are 60 years later, and they want us to continue saying we should overcome someday.
Mhm.
But 60 years is a long time. That meant childhood, my children becoming grown, and now grandchildren. So at which point are we going to evolve to the point that we can be self sufficient to ensure the future for our children? Because as we see now, there's conflict and divided house cannot stand.
Right.
Where we have them, they're literally fighting online, and the constant battles that they're waging, they affect us because we are dependent on them. But if we can remove ourselves from being as dependent on them as we are currently, we can survive. And basically, the goal in life for every creature is survival. If you're running around trying to kill something in your house, whether it's a fly, a spider, it's trying to survive.
Right.
So we should be thinking about what we can do to ensure our survival. As long as we are dependent on their institutions, which they never helped us because it's a hostile environment. You can't live in a hostile environment and not incur some damage. So that's one of the things that we are dealing with. And
Right.
so every institution we go into, it's a struggle. From school, from the point that we entered, actually not even school, from the time we're born to the time we die, it's a struggle. And that's basically because of living in such a hostile environment. They did a study where they were saying the Africans that came in from the continent had regular blood pressure when they entered the country. 6 months
Mm,
later, they had high blood pressure.
right. Right. Absolutely. So let's look at some of this. So first, let's look at these terms. Can we let's go ahead and first look at segregation. Can you help us to understand what segregation is?
Segregation is when you're living separately from another group, but they still have control over your everyday life.
Mm,
We're actually still living under segregation right now. New York State is one of the most segregated states in the country. So when people think segregation, they think down south, but actually, segregation is all over the country.
right, absolutely. And I wanted to add to that that when we look at segregation, it is also colonization. Even though we think of Africa as being colonized, really, our community is colonized. And that is where resources are taken out and nothing is ever put back in. And that is what we look at when we look at the Black community here in America. They siphon all of our talent up out of our community, and they have this what they call cultural appropriation,
Hmm.
where we see in their commercials where they use our beats, they use our slang, but we we don't get any credit for it, nor do we get paid for it, not properly. When you think about them giving out these contracts, music contracts, but the music industry makes hand over fist. And so we'll get a little bit more into that. Let's look now at integration, because a lot of us, and there's two terms, there's integration, and then there's another, which is called assimilation. But can you talk about integration and assimilation and what the difference might be?
Assimilation is something that we can never accomplish. Assimilation is really for Europeans that come to this country. The first generation may not speak English. The second generation goes to school, learns English, and they can move around the society because they're Caucasian. But Black people who have been here for 470 years, we would never be able to assimilate because as soon as they see you, they know that you're Black. Doesn't matter whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, Doesn't matter if you came from Africa. It doesn't matter if directly. I mean, in the recent history, it doesn't matter if you're in the Caribbean. They see you, they know you're black,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can never actually assimilate into this culture. They will give you some easement if you're generating income for them.
Hmm.
So if you're in the NFL, NBA, you're singing and dancing, and you're generating income for them, then they'll make some allowances for you. But for the most part, we are in a segregated society. America is a colony because you got to remember they moved into this country and they never left. So
Right.
they're actually a big colony. And so everyone who's here is basically being controlled by the elites of this country.